Hey everyone, I'm Ed, and this is my first devlog for my as yet unnamed survival horror dark fantasy game. In the game, you explore a keep filled with monsters to try and find out sort of what's happened and hopefully escape. It's going to have melee combat, puzzles, and narrative moments. The vibe I'm going for is kind of if you made like a modern Resident Evil game, but in the Diablo universe, but obviously lower scope than both of those. In the story, the princess of this as yet unnamed land fell ill, and her care was entrusted to the royal alchemist, who has a bit of an obsession with death and has taken his experiments way too far, resulting in all manner of hell breaking loose. He has locked his keep down, but that means that the king hasn't heard from his daughter's condition for a while and has sent you, a scout, to sort of bring back word. The universe is going to be very grim, broadly medieval, but with some anachronistic elements because the alchemist is clearly sort of a capable inventor that it's a bit ahead of his time. High fantasy, magic awards, magic potions, demons. That's the kind of thing. The finer points of the narrative are still absolutely work in progress, and I'd be wanting to get a writer or a narrative designer on board if I'm able to get some funding down the line. So, mechanically, it is first person. It's got head bob. Oop, I loaded into the other level. It's got head bob. I can run around. I can sneak. I can take fall damage. Possibly. Yeah. And I'm getting a little bit of a chromatic aberration around the screen, and my head bob is a little bit more exaggerated because I've taken damage now. Try and feed sort of diegetic uh, information. Mechanically, it's first person. I have some head bob. I can run and jump and sneak. And that head bob will actually get worse if I get damaged, and I'll get some post process effects. So if the school hits me, I'm sort of diegetically communicating my health. I also have melee combat, so I can just hit the school. They're not very smart. They can kind of see you and chase you, and they'll attack you. But if you get out of line of sight of them, they'll forget about you for now. But I can also pick up sword, hit him with the sword. Right. Now, weapons, except for the dagger, which is the most basic, can break. That's in lieu of more of like an ammo system. And it's also one of the major things that's balanced by the difficulty. I'll just go and heal, which will get rid of this screen effect, or at least reduce it. I don't know if I got hit twice. But I have pickups and an inventory system. I can drop this. Oop. Keep forgetting I'm in game. I can drop this. Use it, which won't do anything now because I'm fully healed now. But I have the inventory and I have a journal. Again, I can pick up books, which that won't do anything just now because it's an empty test journal entry, but I do have a plan for a whole mess of those, which are going to be scattered throughout the castle as you go through the game to kind of communicate most of the narrative and what's happened in the lead up to the events of the game. I have a door system working. Doors can also be locked, and then you have to use the key from your inventory. And quickly slam doors open or shut. And I have a ladder system, which this is still a bit wonky. It's very hard to get off of the top of the ladder without, falling. Obviously, I don't have anywhere to go on this ladder, but there's an elevator system. The elevator system I got off the marketplace, though, there was no point in reinventing the wheel. It looked perfect for what I needed. die, which will fade out, take me back to my menu. The menu is also a marketplace asset, but I've heavily modified it. So in my settings, I've redesigned the controls system to work with the enhanced input system, Unreal's new way of handling inputs, which it wasn't designed for, at least at the point that I added it to the project. But it's great for giving me all my graphics presets and everything and saving all of that. But I've also built out an accessibility menu. So accessibility is going to be really important. I'm building my own subtitle system rather than using the Unreal one, which I'll show in a second. But I also have a high contrast mode and colorblind modes working. So what the high contrast mode does is, if I go into the game now, this is at its most exaggerated. It is a sliding scale, but it de-emphasizes most of the game, but emphasizes anything that you can interact with, anything that's flagged. So books, pickups, doors, ladders, anything like that. I'm pretty sure the swords are as well when they're on the ground. No. I should probably fix that. I'm getting a sword break. Yeah, it broke. So I don't have a sword anymore, and there's an extra sword mesh on the ground somewhere. That's the broken sword for now. It's just a different sword mesh. Right. So I have this scene here, which is for testing my assets. This is mostly stuff I've gotten from the marketplace over the years. And I also have been making some assets of my own. So far, it's really just this one set. I do have a couple of pieces that aren't in here. My current plan, based on this audit, is actually to build most of the core environment pieces for building out the spaces myself, but then to dress it mostly with marketplace stuff, mostly using all this sort of material, right? Because being a solo dev, I don't have the time to make all of the assets myself, and I'm not as good an artist as a lot of these marketplace artists. So I have one level thus far. Now, this is my grey box of essentially the entire game. I use the term grey box kind of loosely. Realistically, it's actually just sketched out the spaces and their scale. It's not really blocked them in completely. But I wanted to really try and get a sense of everything makes sense, like where it is, if you were kind of making a mental map. And so I built out everything actually as kind of attached and constantly flowing. They'll be loaded in and out for performance reasons. I'm going to use sublevels, but for right now, this kind of shows the general flow of the game. And I've just started building out this first space with mostly my marketplace, no, not marketplace, my set, the modular set that I made myself, and a few marketplace assets kind of embellishing it. This is actually made with the Unreal modeling tools. I made just a plane, which I loaded in a Megascans material onto to displace it. I merged a whole bunch of them, spanning the whole wall, and then booleaned out the windows and the doorway. So that's actually a very high res mesh, but it gives me quite realistic kind of brickwork of wall. And I thought that would be good to break up as a visual breakup, but also because then I can reuse it on the outside as well for the exterior, and then just use the same material for that part, at least that part of the keep when I start building the exterior, because you will be able to come out here eventually. I haven't done any lighting or anything for this scene, and it's going to be really hard to see with the visual contrast up like that, although you won't be able to miss the doors. And if I just fix that up. Back to defaults. So we have this nice brickwork, which is just sitting over the front of my modular set because it's quite a basic model. And I haven't dressed the scene fully yet, so it looks very sparse. That's my next plans. And then it'll be about trying to build it out so you can go through into the other spaces. There is actually an enemy in here that I can't see, so I'm not going to go in there. So slightly tangentially, but I actually made an animation in Unreal recently, just using metahumans and my own mocap suit. And this has given me a lot of insight into being able to build narrative moments and narrative sequences for the game. So I am planning to at least have an opening cinematic and a closing cinematic, but I may have more narrative moments throughout the game as well, based in kind of this kind of process, this workflow. But I'll probably keep it far more in engine than I did for this. A lot of work for this was done in DaVinci. So a little bit about the enemy. Right now I've really only got one enemy type, which is that ghoul. Now the ghoul is interesting though, and a bit of fun, because I actually built this out of a bit of a composite. I took a ghoul marketplace asset that I had, and I actually cut its head off, and I uploaded that to MetaHuman, and actually made that ghoul into a MetaHuman. And that's the basis for this guy. Now, he's also got a bit of a system here for having different sets of armor. That also is from a marketplace collection, but I built out the blueprint such that I could just have him pick random gear from the collection that I've given him and different weapons. At the moment, I only have swords and daggers. I don't have any of the others, but I am hoping to have other weapon types. And random hit reacts and random death montages as well. And we saw the little sort of jib glider, which is again a marketplace asset, and it's just playing the particle when he gets hit. And then he'll drop his sword so that I can get it. Anything that's interactable has a little glow to it and a Fresnel kind of highlight on it. So thank you for watching. Hope you're interested in the project. I actually want to try and do a lot more YouTube stuff, so I would really appreciate if you could give any comments, not only on the game, but also on the video. This is the first time I've done one of these, so I'm sure that it's pretty rough. But I would welcome some feedback. Thank you.